When people ask me what my hobbies are, I'm going to say getting cute and going to dinner. That is my hobby. What's up, y'all? It's your girl V. You're watching You Glow Girl TV, and I'm back with another video. I apologize for the delay on this video. Life has been crazy. I've been really busy, but as promised, I'm still gonna give you guys content. I can't promise you that the content will necessarily be every week, because some weeks are crazier than others, but you will still get this content, honey. So we are back for another episode of Wind Down Wednesday. Yay! I've actually gotten a lot of positive feedback on this segment, so I just want to say thank you to everybody who has watched my last episode of Wind Down Wednesday, has given me really good feedback and encouragement and compliments. I really appreciate you guys. You do not go unnoticed. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Last week on my Instagram, I asked what people would rather hear about because I had two ideas in mind for Wind Down Wednesday this week. The first was hustle culture and how it's toxic, and the second was the Black girl luxury movement, and Black girl luxury movement won. So we're gonna talk about it. And honestly, I'm really excited because I wanted to talk about this one a little bit more than the other one. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Today I am drinking cranberry juice because I don't have any wine and I wasn't about to go and buy any wine. So we're gonna drink this cranberry juice and we're gonna call it a day. Wind Down Wednesday doesn't mean you always have to have wine. You can just have a glass of your favorite beverage. Even if that means drinking cranberry juice or water out of a wine glass, because you know what? Luxury, girl, luxury. So to give some backstory, I wanted to talk about this because lately, since like 2020, maybe like the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, my timeline could be off, but it's okay. There's been a surge in Black women wanting to live lives of luxury, especially on TikTok. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I love TikTok. TikTok is my favorite app, which is so funny because TikTok started off as something that only kids were on, at least to my knowledge. And my students would always talk about it. This was like 2019, 2018, 2020. And then I would always be like, I'm not making a TikTok. That's not for me. The kids can just show me the little dances and that'll be that. Until quarantine. And then everybody was getting on TikTok back when, you know, it was just the little dances. And now TikTok has become such a hub of information. Oh, I love it. And I love the algorithm of TikTok because no two TikTok pages are the same, or no two TikTok timelines are the same. It really caters to what you like, and I love that because 90% of my TikTok is Black women just living their lives. Whether it's Black women getting themselves together spiritually, going to the gym, being loved on properly, loving their single season, or just going out and traveling, having fun with their friends, having fun just dating. Like, it just warms my heart. Like, TikTok is my happy place. You really are not gonna find me on Instagram. I don't even spend as much time on Twitter anymore. And I used to be a Twitter fiend. I love Twitter. I spent most of my time on there. I go on there occasionally now, but when it's time to check social media, I'm on TikTok. I feel like TikTok really helped propel this movement forward because there were so many women who started making videos and TikToks about them living luxurious lives. And now it's really just become a whole movement of women wanting to live in luxury. Women of all races, I should say, I have seen, but I'm Black, so I can only speak for what I know and what I can relate to. You feel me? So first, let's start with the actual definition of luxury. So by dictionary definition, luxury means the state of great comfort and extravagant living. And I feel like sometimes there's a certain perception of luxury because I even fell into this when I first were watching women make these TikToks and everybody was talking about the luxury movement. I was like, I don't have the money to do these things. Like, I don't have the money to go to Dubai whenever I want to. I don't have the money to go out to eat every single night. I don't have the money to buy a Louis Vuitton and then go buy something Gucci and then go buy some Balenciaga shoes and then go get some Bottega. Like, I was like, I am not living like that. So I guess I cannot be a part of this luxury movement, but I'm gonna still watch y'all do it though. Until there started to be discourse on the internet about exactly what it meant to live in luxury. So again, if we revisit the definition, it says a state of great comfort and extravagant living. But extravagance and comfort is different depending on who you're talking to. I can tell you what my mother thinks is extravagant and what I think is extravagant are two very totally different things. So my idea of luxury and her idea of luxury may not necessarily be the same thing, just because we have different personalities and we view things differently, and that's okay. But whatever brings you comfort and just makes you feel a little bit extra about yourself, almost like romanticizing your life in a way, I feel like that's what luxury is. So to some people, luxury could be buying a brand new name brand bag every month or going out of the country every month. But to another person, luxury could just be getting their nails and feet done once a month. Luxury could be going and buying themselves a new bag from TJ Maxx. Luxury could be buying themselves tickets to that concert that they've really been wanting to go to. Luxury could be them spending a little extra time on their morning and night routine. Luxury is literally whatever you want it to be. And it's no excuse to try and live above your means if you want to live luxuriously. You can really find things that fit within your budget to make your life a little bit more luxurious. Let me give you some examples of what I have decided to do to try and live a little bit more luxuriously. So one thing that I realized makes me feel really good is having my hair done. And so I am starting to invest in nicer wigs so that I can have an outlet to do my hair. I actually really enjoy installing the wigs, I've learned, and I'm working on it, I'm getting better, but that's something that helps me feel luxurious. Something else that makes me feel luxurious is perfume. I have fallen in love with perfume. Up until about 2 years ago, I was strictly a body spray type of girl because I couldn't justify spending the money on perfume, and also I wasn't making enough money to spend on the perfume, or I should say I wasn't allocating my money well enough to spend the money on perfume. But now, that's all I really wear. I love it so much. But I still don't always have the funds to spend $70 or $80 on a bottle of perfume. And that is okay, because there are ways around that. So here I have my handy dandy little cup that I got from Five Below that I keep on my dresser. And in this I have roller balls. So roller balls are a really great alternative to getting a full bottle of perfume, because the most expensive roller ball I've seen is maybe $35. And they actually last you quite a while. So they can either come like this Valentino one where you take the top off and you actually spray, like if I squeeze this, the spray will come out. Or they'll look like this Burberry one where you twist the top off and it's an actual roller ball that you roll on your skin. But they both work just as well. And again, they're literally $35 at the most. I've gotten some roller balls for about $25 actually. So this is a really inexpensive way to make yourself feel luxurious and smell good, but not spend a whole lot of money. And the reason why I fell in love with perfumes is because I felt like they just made me smell more mature. They made me smell like I had more money. I don't know. And even though they are more expensive, I feel like you definitely get your money's worth, because the smell, A, is more potent, and B, lasts a lot longer. Now, there is a difference between getting a eau de toilette and an eau de parfum. An eau de parfum lasts a little bit longer because of however they make it. The toilets don't last as long and they're a little bit less money. So that's another thing. If you want to save some coin, getting an eau de toilette will be less expensive than getting an all-day perfume, but they're still both perfumes. But yeah, I loved walking into a room or somebody walking past me or giving me a hug and telling me that I smell good. I don't know, it just made me feel good, and I felt like I got that compliment a lot more once I started wearing perfume as opposed to when I wore a body spray, because I feel like I would spray my body spray and 20 minutes later it was gone. So it was honestly kind of a waste of my time and money anyway. Now I still do have my body sprays because there are uses for those. So one thing you can do with your body spray is you can layer it with your perfume. So you can take the body spray, spray that on you, and then spray the perfume over it. It creates a totally different scent, and you're still getting use of that body spray, because even though I like perfume, there was no way I was about to throw away all my body sprays just because I started wearing perfume. That's just wasteful. Another use that I use for it is when I go to the gym, I spray it on. Now, some of the girlies spray perfume when they go to the gym, but this girly is not wasting her money like that. I am not spraying my expensive perfume to go sweat. Absolutely not. I really refuse. Now, if you got it like that and you got the perfume to waste, by all means, Miss Mamas, spray your heart out. But as for me and my house, I'm wearing body spray to the gym. But again, that's still another way to make yourself feel luxurious, because even though you're going to the gym to work out and get sweaty and all that stuff, you're still going looking cute and smelling good. You probably walk out not smelling the same, but the intention was there when you walked in. Another thing that I do, and again, some people do this with perfume, but as stated, this girly, this babe, I can't waste like that. But they spray the perfume before they go to bed. And I spray my body spray before I go to bed. And actually, my mom used to have me do this when I was little. When I would take my baths at night, she would have me put on my little Bath and Body Works lotion and then spray my spray, and then I would go to bed. And I always felt so nice because I smelled good going to bed. Like, who doesn't want to smell good? No matter what you're doing, where you're going, even if you are just about to lay down by yourself, it never hurts to smell good, because you got a nose. You're gonna smell it. So like, it's beneficial to everybody involved to smell good. Another way that I like to live luxuriously is planning dates with my girlfriends. I used to spend a lot of my time doing stuff that, I don't know, it doesn't fit the aesthetic that I'm going for now as a woman in my mid-20s. What is fun to me and what makes me feel great is getting cute, doing my hair, doing my makeup, putting on an outfit, and going to get food and drinks with my friends at a nice restaurant. We actually did this the other day for my friend's birthday. We went to a nicer restaurant up the street from my house, and I've lived in this apartment for 3 years, and I've passed this place a lot, but I've never been to it, and I just felt great. And you want to know why I felt great? We were the only table of Black people in that restaurant. So not only were we Black, we were Black women. Not only were we Black women, we were all 27 and under. I don't know, man. It was just something about that that made me feel so empowered. Like, I am sitting in a room full of old white people with money, and we ordering the same stuff as them. Ain't nobody talk about splitting the bill, put it all on one card, ordered whatever we wanted. Like, it was just a fabulous time. And again, while I can't afford to do that all of the time, when I can afford to do it, I'm absolutely going to do it, because it just feels so nice. And we're doing it again for Valentine's Day, for Galentine's Day, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Like, when people ask me what my hobbies are, I'm going to say getting cute and going to dinner. That is my hobby. Do not ask me to go to no funky club or party. No. No, 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 no. I'm trying to go somewhere classy. Something else that I want to start doing more to live luxuriously or romanticize my life is traveling when I can. So I always say I'm somebody who wants to travel and I want to go different places, and I've realized I haven't done too much of that. Like, I have traveled, don't get me wrong, but I could have traveled more if I was smarter with my money. I realized that for a good portion of the time that I was living by myself, I was blowing my money on temporary stupid stuff instead of spending it on experiences. And COVID had a little bit to do with that, but people are still traveling. It's okay to travel. I'm vaccinated. There are some places on my list that I would wait to travel to. A lot of the places that are like further outside of the country, but even domestically, there are so many different states that I want to go to that I haven't been to. And again, it's because I wasn't prioritizing what actually makes me feel good. And to me, a trip is something that you're never going to waste money on, because you can buy material things. Material things are cool, but you will never forget experiences. Those are going to stay with you forever. You will always have those memories with the people that you went on. And I just think that traveling is definitely a luxury that everybody should invest in. Some people don't like to travel, and if you don't, that's absolutely fine. But if you have that desire in your heart, go do it. I have personally committed to myself that there are 3 trips this year that I am going on, that I am planning out, and I want to go. And the thing is, they're not even going out of the country at all. I want to go visit my friend in Dallas. One of my closest friends, her sister wants to have a birthday trip in Miami in June, and me and my cousin and one of my best friends want to go to Disney in August. And these are things that we established and we set our minds to, and we said we're gonna do them. And to me, that makes me feel good. It makes me feel good to hear the pilot on the plane and sit down and just know I'm heading somewhere other than Buffalo. Especially because right now, well, honestly, when these trips happen, it won't be cold, but it gets really cold and snowy in Buffalo. I wish I could leave right now during the winter. I don't have anything planned, unfortunately. But living in a city like this, and this can go for anybody who lives in the North, especially the Northeast, I think for your self-care and your mental health purposes, it's really important to try and get out of here while the weather is like this. We have been getting nothing but snow and cold and darkness, and it's just terrible, and I wish I could leave. Me and my friends used to go on a cruise every February because we had February break, and our last one was 2020. COVID ruined it. I might not never, I don't want to say never, but I will not be stepping on a cruise ship anytime soon. To me, that just seems like a petri dish for COVID. But you know, if you are comfortable being on a cruise, or when you know COVID finally calms down in like 12 years, cruises are a good way to travel and feel luxurious without having to spend too much money, just because so many things are included. So you get a payment plan when you're paying for the cruises, and then all of your food is included. If you want to, you can get a drink package, so then all of your drinks are included. So it almost kind of feels like you're on a resort. You get to go to different stops, so it's a way to visit different places without having to spend the extra money to go to those different places. You can do excursions. There's so much that you can do on a cruise, and that's why I truly enjoy them. So in the future, or even now, because I bet you that they're very cheap. If you want to play that gamble, go right ahead, live your best life. That's another great way to live luxuriously while being on a budget. And I don't want to spend this entire time giving you tips and ideas. I'm just sharing some things personally from my life that I do to feel luxurious, because again, I felt like I had to have all of this money to live luxuriously, and that's not true. Even just changing the way that I dress, changing the way that I do my makeup, taking a little bit more time to make myself look nice, to put in the effort, treating myself every once in a while, those things really are worthwhile. Investing in a really good skincare routine, taking care of your nails, which I'm about to start trying to do my own nails, getting enough sleep, taking your vitamins, all of these things tie into luxurious living, in my opinion. Just taking care of yourself, honestly, taking good care of yourself. And so with it being Black History Month, I just want to touch on why the Black woman in luxury movement is so important, because it's necessary, and I'm really grateful that it's happening. let's turn this into a history lesson, shall we? Welcome to Miss Boyd's classroom. Nice to meet you. Have a seat. It does not take a rocket scientist to acknowledge the fact that Black women are portrayed in a certain light, especially darker skinned Black women. When you look throughout history, Black women were never considered to be delicate in contrast to their white counterparts. You know, the white women were always the damsels in distress. They were the ones who needed saving. They were the ones who needed rescuing. By the white community, Black women were not fragile. They were not dainty. They were not delicate. They were not feminine. And even just looking at slavery, you can see it's not like Black women were really treated with any more dignity or respect than the Black men who were slaves. They were all slaves. Man, woman, child. It didn't really matter. And then so many things about us were picked apart. The way our lips looked, the way our noses looked, the way our hair grew out of our heads, the way that we were more shapely. All of that was frowned upon, and it wasn't really celebrated, you know? And the masculinization, I think that's the word, masculinization of Black women was actually quite intentional. And if you don't believe me, let's take a look at the Willy Lynch letters. So for those of you who may not be familiar with the Willy Lynch letters, I am hoping a lot of you are, because it should have been brought up in your US history classes, but we all know that our history books and our history teachers twist the narrative to make it fit what they want to tell you. So if you haven't heard of it, I'm not even gonna judge you. So William Lynch delivered an address in 1712. He was from England, I believe, and he delivered this speech to American slave owners. And the whole thing was him trying to teach them how they could have control over their slaves. And in the letters, he actually says, if you follow the steps that I've given you, you will have control over your slaves until the year 2020. I just like let's just sit and think about that. Because no, we are not enslaved anymore. We are not in shackles. But like, you already know what I'm getting at here. Like, we have so many issues and stigmas within our community. And it's like, if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. And a lot of us don't know our history. And so we don't understand why we have these certain dynamics within our community. And when I tell you, when I read this, I said, oh Lord, like it all makes sense. They hit so many things, including light skin versus dark skin. And everybody knows that that was done on purpose. And here we are, the year of our Lord, 2022. And we still have the light skin versus dark skin debate, especially amongst women. Nonsense. Wait, and before I continue, y'all hear what his last name is, right? Right? Okay. One of the points that he hit in this speech was pitting the male versus the female. And basically how they needed to break down the male slave so that the woman was no longer dependent on him. She had to rely on independence. And since she felt unprotected and had to rely on independence, she was going to raise her children in reverse roles. So she was going to train the son to be emotionally weak but physically strong, and then train the daughter to be mentally strong and independent. I'm just going to read you an excerpt from what this is. I'm also going to be modifying the language because I do not want to get flagged or anything by YouTube for saying nigga with a hard ER, because that's what he wrote in here. So yeah. Okay, so this section of the letter is called The Breaking Process of the African Woman. I'm gonna jump in at the middle of the paragraph. He says, we reverse the nature by burning and pulling a civilized hard ER apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed, the ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen independent state. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reversed roles. For fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offsprings to be psychologically independent. What have you got? You've got the hard ER woman out front and the hard ER man behind and scared. This is a perfect situation of sound sleep and economic. Before the breaking process, we had to be alertly on guard at all times. Now we can sleep soundly, for out of frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. He cannot get past her early slave molding process. He is a good tool, now ready to be tied to the horse at a tender age. By the time a hard ER boy reaches the age of 16, he is soundly broken in and ready for a long life of sound and efficient work and the reproduction of a unit of good labor force. Continually, through the breaking of the uncivilized savage ER, by throwing the ER female savage into a frozen psychological state of independence, by killing of the protective male image, and by creating a submissive dependent mind of the ER male slave, we have created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever, unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the position of the male and female slaves. We show what we mean by example. Take the case of two economic slave units and examine them closely. Does any of this sound familiar? I don't care how much backlash I get from this. In the Black community, we have a whole lot of independent women and a whole lot of psychologically dependent, immature, babied men. I said it. And even when you look at the dynamics of a relationship between a Black mother and her children, she's usually easier on the boy and harder on the girl. Why is that? Like, these things did not just stem out of thin air. One day a Black woman did not wake up and say, oh my God, I'm gonna coddle my son and I'm going to tear down my daughter. Nobody said that. Like, that's not how it happened. This didn't just appear. This came from something. This is years and years of trauma being passed down and we don't even realize it. Then take the fact that once you get into the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, you have an influx of Black men not being present in the home. So now what? The woman has no choice but to be independent, both psychologically, physically, and financially. Because there's nobody looking out for her. It's her and it's her child. That's it. So yes, she is going to present a little bit more masculine. Yes, she is going to present more dominant. Yes, she is going to present more assertive, because who was there to protect her? Who has been Black women's protectors? I'm gonna pause for dramatic effect. If all a group of people have known for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years is self-reliance, I don't know how anybody expects them to come off with that damsel as distressed mindset, because we weren't afforded that luxury. Black women have not been afforded that luxury. And then that's when we get into the stereotypes. All Black women have attitudes. All Black women are nasty. Black women aren't submissive, which, like, we can talk about that whole submissive crap in another video, because I could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about that topic, okay? Black women are argumentative. They don't listen. They don't do what I tell them to. Like, again, a bunch of men wanting to be able to control women, and they can't control the women. So now we're labeled these things, and we just get a bad rep within society. We weren't afforded the opportunity to be luxurious or dainty or feminine, because nobody saw us as that and nobody was protecting us. So it was hard for us to even have the opportunity to do that. Like, is this all making sense? Is it clicking? Like, it's just this frustrating cycle that was repeating itself over and over and over and over and over and over again, like for years and years and years and years. And even now, with Black women trying to recreate the narrative, it's out of our hands sometimes. For example, and I was gonna do a whole wind down Wednesday video on this, and I decided against it because I know how passionate I could get, and I would have been up in this camera yelling and cussing, and nobody has the time for that, nor does anybody want to watch that. But when we look at the Lauren Smithfield's case, a lot of the things in this case that made me upset were very subtle and very hard to pick up on if this is not your reality, but I picked up on it, so let me shed some light. Lauren Smithfield was a 23-year-old Black woman, a brown-skinned / dark-skinned Black woman, may I add, because I think that that's very important. She died in her apartment in December after going on a date with an older white man that she met on Bumble. Mind you, the man was in the bed when she died, and there were bloodstains all over her bed, right? So eventually this starts to pick up some exposure come January, and people are talking about it. And again, most of the people who are bringing light to this are Black women. I just feel like the media was not making a big fuss about it like they were about a certain white woman who went missing in August of 2021. So if you don't know who this woman is, her name is Gabby Peteito, I think is how you pronounce her last name, P-E-T-I-T-O. And her boyfriend went on like a trip that was supposed to last 4 months, and then she disappeared. Nobody could find her. It was this big hoopla. I couldn't go a minute on Twitter without seeing her name. Everybody, justice for Gabby, justice for Gabby. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I didn't want justice for this young woman. Anybody whose life has been taken deserves justice. Like, that's not cool. But I saw all of the uproar and the hoopla that was created for this girl, and it was crickets for my girl Lauren. Social media was not in as big of an uproar when she died. And then on top of it, we had men from our own community, yes, Black men, who were saying that she deserved to die because she went on a date with a white man. Which again is another topic that I do not have the mental capacity to talk about right now, because Black men date white women all the time. And again, whatever floats your boat, date who you want to date. But these same men who are telling her, well, not telling her, putting on the internet that she deserved to die for going on a date with a white man are the same men who probably would have never looked in her direction twice, or who would have stereotyped her when they saw her, or who throw jabs at Black women all the time and say this is why they date white women. Like, I do not care if a Black man dates a white woman. That's not my issue. My issue is the reasoning behind it. The reasoning why some of these Black men date white women. That is the problem, because again, it is an anti-Black woman rhetoric, and it's dangerous and it's harmful. But anyway, the point is, you could just tell that the importance of Lauren's life didn't seem to compare to the importance of Gabby's when it came to these cases. And even looking at how they were portrayed in the media, there were so many pictures of Lauren that could have been used, because certain social media sites did use those pictures. Pictures of her happy, pictures of her just looking like a normal 23-year-old girl, you know? Then you have the people who decide to contrast the picture of the man who was accused, you know, looking all innocent, probably going on a hike in the mountains of Caucasus or something. And then they put her next to him in a bikini pic with like her butt in the camera, which again, she took that picture, she put it on her Instagram, that's fine, that's her business. But there was a reason why they posted that picture next to his. There's a reason why they made him look super innocent and made her look like this wild party girl, because again, nobody wants to believe that the nice white man killed the Black woman. Let me sip my cranberry juice, child. It's just frustrating, you know? And being a Black woman and like noticing this more, because I was real racially tone deaf for a long time because I never had a reason to be like woke, alert, whatever. I never had a reason to be. Even going to a predominantly white high school and a predominantly white college and dealing with a lot of microaggressions, I still wasn't completely educated and aware of like just the little nuances that happen every day. It wasn't until I became a working woman and I guess I got to see these things happen in real life and see white men try to make me feel crazy or feel less than or feel less educated or feel like I didn't know what I was talking about because I was young and I was a Black woman. And I knew that that was the only justification that they had, because I'd be like, I know what I'm talking about. Like, I went to school. You hired me for a reason. I'm clearly not dumb. I'm trying not to get myself worked up. The point of this is because Black women have to face all of this nonsense all the time, all of these stereotypes, all of this disrespect, undermining, lack of protection, even from the men in our community who look like us. And this isn't to all men. Shout out to the Black men who are ride or die for us. We see you, we appreciate you. But the ones who aren't are very loud. They are loud. And that is what we see a good amount of the time. And it can just be disheartening. It can be draining. It can be hurtful. And so the fact that Black women are taking back this narrative and realizing we don't need y'all. We don't need your approval. We don't need your protection, which your protection would be nice, don't get me wrong. But we don't need you to tell us who to be, how to be, what to act like, what to indulge in, what we can enjoy, what we can be a part of. Like, we can do that ourselves. We are acting like Auntie Maxine and we are reclaiming our time. Black women have spent so many years having to be strong and independent that now a lot of us, we don't want to be independent. We don't. We want to be happy. We want to be joyful. We want to enjoy our lives. We want to be healed and whole. We don't want to settle for struggle love. And we're coming to the conclusion that if we cannot be loved on properly by a man, we will be loved on by no man at all. Or some of my sisters are saying, if a Black man can't love me, a white man will. And hey, do you, boo? Do what you gotta do. Black women are just really basking in what it means to be a Black woman and how amazing we are and how lit we are and how we are the blueprint for everything. But again, that will be another video because this video will be 3 hours long if I really talk about everything that I want to talk about, okay? Seeing this movement, it really warms my heart. It warms my heart, and I wish I would have seen this when I was a kid. Seeing Black women be unapologetically extra, unapologetically focused on themselves, and uplifting each other. Some of y'all still need to work on it because some of y'all are nasty. But in this movement, this luxury movement, I love to see it, and I love that a lot of these Black women are breaking down the barriers of what it means to be a Black woman, and that we don't all look the same, sound the same, act the same, live in the same places, enjoy the same things, expect the same things out of life, and that's okay because Black people, Black women, we are not a monolith. It's just great. Like, happy Black History Month, y'all. I love it. I love it. Like, you guys just do not understand how much joy this brings me. And I have so much pride in being a Black woman. I would not want to be anything else. I'm so happy to be me. And even coming from somebody like me, this means a lot, because when I was younger, I didn't want to be black. I didn't. I used to ask God if I could be white. Like, can I wake up and be white? And that was because that's all I saw. Like, that's all that was thrown at me, was just whiteness. It wasn't until The Proud Family, and that was a cartoon, right? That's So Raven came out when I was in like the 3rd grade, I think. And that was when I was like, oh, cool. Like, they got a black lead on Disney Channel, because that's what I was watching as a kid. I was watching Disney Channel. I was not watching Nickelodeon. Mostly everybody was white. Everybody in the commercials for the toys and stuff that I would play for were white. My Barbie dolls were white, and the ones that weren't white, they all looked the same and they didn't look like me. So I was like, it must be better to be white. Now at 25, being proud of who I am and choosing to live my life unapologetically, luxuriously, and authentically as my black woman self, and seeing my friends do the same thing and women who I don't even know do the same thing is so empowering. It's so encouraging. It's so uplifting. And sometimes I get very pessimistic about bringing children into the world, but when I see how this generation is changing the narrative on a lot of things, and how I could be a mom who changes a narrative with my daughter and, you know, explains my situation and be like, listen, mom felt this way too, and I learned this and that, and just, I don't know, being able to just instill all the things that I've learned in my daughter and teach her to grow up to be unapologetically black and unashamed of who she is and her worth. Man, I get excited thinking about that. I just wanted to hop on here and give you guys one more Wind Down Wednesday and talk about a topic that is really near and dear to my heart, and a topic that my Instagram followers said that they would want to hear about as well. So if you are a black woman, a woman of color, or even a white woman, treat yourself this week. Do something this week that will make you feel luxurious, even if it is drinking cranberry juice out of a wine glass. Be the main character, because let me tell you, I have a little bit of main character syndrome now, and it is one of the funnest things ever, because sometimes life is just so much fun. When you live your life like you're the main character in a story and you think, what would this main character do? Man, life becomes so much more interesting. As always, I appreciate you guys for rocking with me through this video. If you have not already, please like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media. I am in the process of a name change again. I'll explain that in a video once I actually do. I'm just gonna be going by my social media handle, so ignore what it tells you to follow in the intro. Look in the description box below and follow me on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. Make sure to take some time to talk to God, show him an attitude of gratitude, check in with him, thank him for everything great that's been going on, or complain about the things that aren't going well. Just make sure you check in. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.